You've seen this happen, right? Heck, maybe you've even been the one to do it. I'm talking about that really confusing, kind of painful moment when someone just stops talking. Today, we're diving deep into what's called the silent breaking point.
I mean, have you ever been there? You're talking with someone, a friend, your partner, whoever, and they just shut down. Poof. Gone. Completely silent. So, what is actually going on in that moment?
It's so baffling. 1 second, you think everything's fine, maybe even great. And the next, they've completely withdrawn. They're still sitting right there, but you can tell emotionally they are a million miles away.
Okay, so to really get what's happening here, we have to break it down piece by piece. First up, let's talk about what this looks like from the outside. We'll call this first part the silent disappearance.
So when you're on the receiving end of this, wow, it is incredibly jarring. It feels like it comes out of absolutely nowhere. It's confusing, and let's be real, it's almost impossible not to take it personally, right? You're just left there thinking, what did I do? What did I say wrong?
But what if that thing that looks so sudden from the outside is actually the very last step in a long, invisible process? That's what we're going to dig into next. We're going under the surface to look at what's really building up, the pressure inside.
So this whole thing really kicks off with one core idea: emotional suppression. And that's just a fancy way of saying you repeatedly push your own feelings down. Telling yourself I'm fine when you're really not, or just pretending something doesn't bother you. And we learn to do this for a million reasons, right? Maybe it's how we were raised, or social pressure, or we're just trying to be the strong one.
But here's the catch. Those feelings you push down, they don't just disappear. They're not deleted. Nope, they accumulate. I want you to think of it like a pressure cooker. Every single time you ignore an emotion, you're just turning up the heat inside, bit by bit.
And you can kind of see this slow, invisible buildup happening in a few steps. First, an emotion goes unheard, then another one, and another. And each time that happens, that internal pressure just keeps climbing, pushing your whole system closer and closer to its absolute limit, to overload. So what happens when you finally hit that limit? When all that pressure just becomes too much to hold in anymore? Well, that brings us to the climax of this whole thing, the system shutdown.
And look, this isn't just someone being moody. There's actually a name for it: a delayed emotional overflow and shutdown response. I know, it's a mouthful, but the name kind of tells you the whole story, right? The emotional overflow has been delayed for so long that the only thing left for the system to do is shut down.
So let's be super clear about the cause and effect here. The trigger isn't whatever happened 5 minutes ago in that conversation. No way. The real trigger is the prolonged suppression that's been happening for weeks, months, maybe even years. The shutdown itself, that's the response. It's your nervous system literally slamming on the emergency brake to stop a complete and total system failure. And this brings us to a really, really important point. The person who's withdrawing, they are not making an impulsive choice. They're not trying to be difficult. They're not trying to hurt you. This is not some conscious decision they're making right then and there. Instead, what's happening is that their nervous system, their actual biology, is taking the wheel and forcing a timeout. It's a protective measure, an automatic failsafe that kicks in for self-preservation when every other coping mechanism has failed. So when you understand all that, the whole story changes, doesn't it? And that's what our last section is all about, rewriting this experience into a totally different and, frankly, much more compassionate story. And this quote just nails the new perspective. It's as if you're speaking directly to the person who shut down, saying, "You did not withdraw without warning. Your emotions were unheard for too long, and distance became the only form of regulation left. See, the warnings were there the whole time. They were just silent. There were internal signals that nobody heard." And that right there, that is the big aha moment, the reframe. We stop seeing it as some random, unexplained act, and we start understanding it for what it is: a necessary protective measure. It's not an attack on you. It's a distress signal that a person's system has been pushed way beyond its breaking point. So, all of this leaves us with one last really big question to think about. If that sudden shutdown isn't the start of the problem, but actually the very end of a long, silent struggle, then how does that change the way we listen to silence?